Ridiculous here, and welcome finally to my review of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Season 3. I finally got to go and finish, I finally got to go and watch the second half of Season 3. I watched the first half quite a while ago, pretty much as soon as it finished airing, and I just finished the second half right now, and I'm finally ready to make my review of one of my favorite animes of all time, as you all know. I absolutely love That Time I Got Reincarnated Slime. If you don't count Black Clover as a new gen anime, as I know quite a few people don't, then That Time I Got Reincarnated Slime is my absolute favorite new gen anime. I love this show so much. I can't even put into words how much I love this goddamn anime. And as you can tell by how excited I am and everything I've said so far, clearly I absolutely loved Season 3. And I have a whole lot of stuff to talk about in this video, so without further ado, let's jump into my review of Season 3 of That Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime. Season 3, what an interesting way to take the series. So the big question for me going into Season 3 was how were they going to go about following up the events of Season 2? Because Season 2 was extraordinary, to say the least. It was absolutely, Season 2 of That Time I Got Reincarnated Slime is easily one of the best seasons of anime I have ever seen. It has multiple moments that are in my top 10 favorite moments that I have ever seen in the history of anime, period, in the history of fiction, period. One of my favorite seasons of television I've ever seen in my life. Of course, Season 1 is not too far below that either, but Season 2 definitely did kind of bring it to another level and brought in a ton more fans into the series with stuff like the Rimuru versus Hinata fight. Of course, the Megiddo scene.
May the wrath of the gods pierce you. Megiddo!
Not to mention the second half, of course, Walpurgis with stuff like Rimuru versus Clayman, and even Una versus Adelman. Essentially, Season 2 was very, very action-packed, very, very epic in scale, high stakes, just a really, 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 huge season of the story. And it definitely is probably peak Tensora for me. You know, the invasion of Falmouth is just incredible from start to finish. It's absolutely brilliant. And then Walpurgis was also pretty freaking amazing as well. So, Season 2, there's big shoes to fill. And of course, we did also get the movie Scarlet Bonds. I have 2 reviews of that if you're interested. One spoiler-free and one totally spoiler-filled review. But the movie was great. I absolutely loved it. But here we are with Season 3. What did they do? How did they follow up the events of Season 2? Because Season 2 very much did get some things going, along with the OVA, what was that called? Something Dream. Coleus Dream, I want to say, which came out on Halloween, which I did, of course, watch as well. Absolutely loved it, of course. It's Tensora after all. I actually didn't watch the dub, though. I need to go back and watch the dub, I just realized. But what I was really getting was they were trying to set up something really, really, really big with Coleus Dream, with the end of Season 2. We had a lot of things coming up, stuff like Laplace attacking, Roy Valentine. It definitely kind of felt like maybe we were building up something like the Moderate Harlequin Alliance is trying to antagonize Luminous and Luminous's followers and trying to start a bit of a war. We also had stuff setting up with Guy Crimson in his castle with all the different dragons. It really felt like we were going to dive into that a little bit more. It felt like we were really going to learn more about Yuki Kagarazaka in this. And of course, it also felt like we were going to get some kind of resolution with Hinata Sakaguchi after the events of Season 2, where Hinata is trying to, avenge Shizu by killing Rimuru. And what did we get? We got almost none of that in Season 3. The first half of Season 3, we essentially had the resolution of Hinata. So we did get one of those things in Season 3. And we'll talk about the other things and where I was going with that point in just a minute here. But now let's talk about the first half of Season 3 of Tensora. Because for me, this very much felt like an extension of Season 2, continuing what we loved, what people loved so much about Season 2, the very high stakes, the very, 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 insane action and whatnot, very powerful characters going against very powerful characters, insane power scaling left, right, and center. Season 3 Part 1 definitely very, very much felt like this. Now, I do want to take a second, and basically what we had in Season 3 Part 1 was, of course, the resolution of Hinata's vengeance against Rimuru, and we also had we had tying up the loose ends of what happened with Walpurgis, with the invasion of Falmouth. We had Rimuru's plan, of course, to put Yom in charge of Falmouth and connect Falmouth with Tempest in order to gain more followers and more trust between the human races and the monster races from all across the world. And essentially, what we had there was Yom and Diablo going with the king and Mars, who had been captured by Rimuru, in order to take the throne from Falmouth, of course, which was a really interesting section of this core. Rimuru very much used like intimidation and whatnot to make Falmouth crumble, to make all the forces and the followers of Falmouth who were behind invading Tempest and were behind overthrowing Rimuru, put them in line, of course, having them pay reparations for attacking Tempest and whatnot, for killing a massive group of citizens in Tempest, basically just paying back all of the things that Falmouth did to Rimuru in season 2, and of course taking Enmaris out of the picture and putting Yom as the new king in there, along with Muron, of course, as the new queen of Falmouth as well. And all of that was really awesome. And I think the highlight of this entire season, of this entire core actually, was of course our boy Diablo! Diablo really did kind of steal the show in this core, just doing what he has always done so good. His intimidation factor is just off the charts. He's literally just standing there and just making everybody just quake in their boots. And then you also, of course, have Hinata's forces, the Western Holy Church, coming in to try and assist as well, trying to take down Rimuru and whatnot. And you have all these super powerful characters coming in, these characters from the Western Holy Church that are built up to be these huge, awesome, badass dudes that are gonna come in and give Rimuru a hell of a time, and Diablo just wipes the floor with these dudes. We really get to see just how powerful Diablo is in this first core of season 3, and we really don't actually know if Diablo is actually that much weaker than Rimuru himself. I highly doubt he is the same level of power as Rimuru, but he definitely is probably not too far down. Most likely on a similar playing field to Shion and Benimaru. And along with the Western Holy Church, we also had the introduction of the 7 Days Clergy, who pretty much served as the main antagonist of this core for season 3. Doing stuff like tampering with Rimuru's message to Hinata, to instead of having them trying to resolve this peacefully, ending in them actually clashing, in them actually trying to kill each other. Essentially trying to get rid of either Hinata or Rimuru, or possibly both. The 7 Days Clergy were scumbags, essentially. But I did really love how the 7 Days Clergy was taken out in the end, of course, by Diablo using a really insane. It definitely gave flashbacks to Invasion of Falmouth from season 2. Definitely felt similar to that, how we have these characters come in where they're built to be these super powerful, like we are the children of the Western Holy Church, or whatever they were, some of the lords of the Western Holy Church. Them coming in and just getting absolutely obliterated by Diablo was really fun to watch, to say the least. But with that being said, I want to take a little break from talking about the season itself and actually talking a little bit about the music in season 3. One of my favorite things about Tensora has always been the music. I absolutely love the freaking music in this show. It is so goddamn incredible. And this opening for season 3 part 1 was absolutely no exception. I loved this opening so much. We actually had Stereo Dive Ron come in and do an opening. This is, of course, the same guy who did the season 2 part 1 ending, which is Story Seeker, and they also did Sparkle from the movie, which is one of my favorite songs on the soundtrack. They did the season 3 part 1 opening, and I absolutely love what they did with it. Peacekeeper is just such a brilliant fucking opening. It just flows so well. It sounds exactly like what you would expect from a Tensora opening, and I absolutely loved it. And of course, I want you to keep all that stuff in mind for when we talk about the season 3 part 2 opening. The ending for season 3 part 1 was also solid, nothing too extraordinary for me. Pretty good. I honestly do expect better endings from this show because of the endings that they've given us in the past, stuff like Reincarnate by Takuma Terashima, which is one of my favorite EDs of all time. The endings in this one for me were nothing really all that special. I enjoyed the second one a little bit more than the first one though, but the first opening, absolutely phenomenal, deserves to go right up there with all of the best openings from previous seasons. But with that being said, to close off my thoughts on the first half of season 3 part 1, I want to of course talk about the resolution of Hinata Sakaguchi versus Rimuru Tempest. This is a fight that has literally been built up since day 1. We've literally had that moment from the very first opening of the series where Rimuru is fighting Hinata. This is something that we've had teased from the very beginning, and in this season, season 3 part 1, we finally get to see this actually happen. And in my opinion, totally lived up to all the hype. Now, was it a better fight than the season 2 fight of Rimuru and Hinata? That I don't know about, honestly. I'll be honest, it's been a little while since I've seen this part. I watched this part quite a few months ago, and I just finished season 3 part 2 literally like right now, like 5 minutes ago. And I've only seen this season one time as opposed to the previous first 2 seasons that I've seen like 5 or 6 times. So my memory is a little bit cloudy for this first half of season 3, but of course, I cannot wait to watch the season over and over and over again and get it to the exact same number as those first 2 seasons as well. The number of watches as those first 2 seasons as well. But from what I remember absolutely loving everything about season 3 part 1. I thought it was incredible. Pretty much just carrying on all of the greatness from season 2, having these incredible fights, these amazing characters, and of course, amazing slice of life humor between these characters. Of course, we have Rimuru in this show, one of my favorite characters of all time, easily. I just love this dude so much. I could literally watch this dude for fucking ever, and we'll talk about that at some point in this video as well. The idea of watching this guy forever, because I have some thoughts on that as well. But yes, Rimuru is just the absolute best. And of course, all the other characters are still just as amazing and wonderful as they were. Like I said, Diablo really did kind of steal the show for me in this first half of season 3. But of course, Shion is great. Benimaru is great. There wasn't really too many new characters in this first half. All of that came from the second half of season 3, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Not too many new characters in this that were from the first half that were really, really fun. But still, well, actually, some of the Western Holy Church guys were really, really cool. One of them kind of remind me of Hitsugaya from Bleach. He was pretty cool. The main one, the like little short guy with white hair, he was pretty cool. I liked him. I thought he was pretty fun. And there were some side characters as well that did some pretty cool stuff in there as well. Like I said, my memory's a little bit foggy with this first half, but I think there was, at the very end, there was that one guy who like tricked that one member of the 7 Days clergy, and that was very cool. It's one thing I love about Tensora is they have all these characters that don't really have that much screen time, and they shouldn't really be characters that you're like really committing to memory, and yet they're still really cool. They're still really entertaining. They still feel like part of the world, and you're like, okay, I want to see more of that guy. That guy's interesting. There was definitely no shortage of that in this season of the show, and in this core in particular, but very much so in the second core. And with that being said, let's get into the second core. And this is honestly the majority of where my opinions for this season come in. Season 3 part 1 really did just feel like an extension of season 2. It really did just feel like we were trying to wrap up the events of season 2, trying to put them in a nice, neat little bow and move on. And then we get to season 3 part 2. And what an interesting way to take the story. On paper, if you had told me that this is what we were going to be doing, that we were going to be going from season 2 and season 3 part 1, these huge action spectacles with extremely high stakes and craziness, like death everywhere and whatnot, and you told me that we were going to be going into like a festival arc, a Tempest festival. Rimuru wants to throw a festival for all of the nations to come, and he wants to present himself as this new demon lord, as this new ruler in this world, as a force to be reckoned with. He wants to build up relationships with all of these other nations, like the Sorcerer's Dynasty of Thalion, and of course continue to build his relationship with Bloomond and Dwargon. So we have this festival arc. And man, what an interesting way to take this series. And for the first couple episodes, it was kind of jarring to me. I was actually being like, oh, okay, so we're going back to slice of life. We're going back to this more lighthearted, fun thing about slime. And at first, it was a little bit jarring to me going from season 2 and season 3 part 1 to this very like chill, more season 1-ish version of slime. And I went into it and I was going through these first couple episodes, And it was jarring to me, but as we went on and we started getting into this, we started getting into Rimuru plan for this, him creating this massive dungeon as this kind of, like attraction that he wants to use for this festival. It started to come together. It really started to feel like classic Tensora, and it made me remember, wait a second, I love this aspect of Tensora just as much as I love the crazy epic action side of Tensora as well. This is what made me fall in love with the show to begin with. Season 1, because Season 3 Part 2 does definitely feel more along the lines of Season 1. We have a lot of slice of life going on, a lot more lighthearted, low-stakes stuff going on. And it just reminded me why I love this show so goddamn much. It's like we went through this little thing where we have Season 1, super wholesome, super lighthearted. We go into Season 2, pretty much just crazy action and death and everything, just craziness left, right, and center. And Season 3 2 and Season 3 Part 1 as well. And then we go into Season 3 Part 2, and it really did feel like a return to form. Like, okay, we're putting all this aside. We're not going to get into Yuki Kagurazuka. We're not going to talk about the Moderate Harlequin Alliance. We're not going to go back into Gi. We're not going to go back into the Demon Lords whatsoever. We're just going to give you some pure classic Tensora greatness. And luckily, that is exactly what Season 3 Part 2 did for me. And I loved it. It probably is my favorite core of the season. It was so fun watching all of the characters just get to just be them. Just have fun. Like getting to see Shion and Betty more. Like there was a scene where Shion and Shuna perform a little a performance for all of these people because Rimuru puts on this little performance, this little like orchestra for all the nations. And Shizu and Shion go up there and they do their performance, and it was incredible. It was absolutely amazing to see this. And that scene alone was enough to remind me, oh my god, this is I love stuff like this in this show just as much as I love the crazy action, just as much as I love the insane fight scenes and whatnot. This is Tensora. This is the magic of Tensora. This is why this show is my favorite isekai. This is why this show is one of my favorite animes, because we have all these wonderful characters that just feel like a fucking family, dude. They just feel so lively. They feel like genuine friends. They feel like a family, and I could watch them forever. Like this cat, for example. I'm gonna put her down very fast because she does not like being held. And on top of that, this part also continued to do more of what I love about this part. Continued to add more and more and more and more into this world. We have the introduction of the Lightspeed hero Masayuki. We have the introduction of the Eastern merchants who look like they're going to be another force to be reckoned with, but at this point I don't even know, because all of the forces that are supposed to be reckoned with have all been built up, and we still have nothing to go off of with there. But at the same time, we have stuff like the Moderate Harlequin Alliance. For me, I feel like that is the part that I'm the most interested in. What is the deal with the Moderate Harlequin Alliance? And especially in this season, it's just raised more questions, because this whole season you have Rimuru and Yuki Kagurazuka acting all buddy-buddy, like there's nothing going on, like there's no problems, when the whole time we know Yuki is the mastermind of the Moderate Harlequin Alliance, and we know this dude is trying to do some seriously fucked up shit. And it's just crazy. Like, how are we introducing more crazy stuff into this world? How are we introducing more plot lines that need to be resolved? And the most crazy part about it, why is this not distracting me? Why is this not taking me out of the story? I'll tell you why. Because it's fucking good. It just feels like this show could literally go on forever if we just keep adding in these little storylines like this and building up more things. Like, I have so many things that we have so many questions from Season 1 and Season 2 that still need to be even remotely touched on. Like, what about Leon Cromwell? We don't know anything about him. He's been in like 2 scenes of the entire show, and he is such a massive thing that we need to know about, and we know nothing. And in this season, we get nothing. And yet, I completely forgot about that until like 5 seconds ago. How, dude? I love this freaking show so much. And on the note of all the new things that were added in Season 3 Part 2, let's just go down the list. The Lightspeed hero, Masayuki. Oh my god, dude. This This dude was fucking hilarious. This dude was so goddamn entertaining. He is essentially an otherworlder, just like Rimuru, just like Satoru. He is an otherworlder, but he kind of came into the world in like a Subaru way, like a ReZero way, where he just blinked and boom, there he was in the new world right there, as opposed to Rimuru, of course, who was reincarnated with Great Sage. But this guy as well also has a version of Great Sage, and bringing up more questions. What is the deal with Great Sage? What is the deal with people getting taken into this new world with these random summons? Because this wasn't like a summon like it was with Hinata and Shizu, where they were summoned by a demon lord, Cromwell or whatnot. This was literally just he blinked and boom, there he was. And he got this skill, and he got this unique skill, Chosen One. And this dude literally has no fighting capabilities whatsoever, but he is revered as like an insane hero. He's called the Lightspeed Hero because nobody has actually ever seen him attack, because he doesn't attack. He doesn't know how to attack. He's a total fraud who has this unique skill that just makes him like lovable, that just makes anybody who wants to fight him just freaking fall in love with the dude and want to be his best friend and whatnot. And it's so fun. It's so fun and wholesome. And I was wondering the whole time, what is the deal with this guy? What is going to happen with this guy? Only for him to be converted into Rimuru's empire as well. And it was just, I can't. This show can just continuously add more and more wonderful characters into this that I want to see more. And yet there's so much stuff that I still need to know the answers of, and I just don't even care. Save it for the next season, I guess, because I had a fucking blast. On top of the Lightspeed Hero, we also had the introduction of Momiji and the Tengu. Also, so much fun. We have this new plot line of Benimaru Benimaru, who has all these other girls in Tempest trying to go after him, wanting, to be his wife. And mainly you had Albus and now Momiji, who is kind of being, her mom is kind of wanting her to go because her mom feels that Benimaru is a suitable mate for Momiji. But it felt like Momiji was like, well, at first, whatever, we're doing some brave shit, we're setting up some marriage that, that we don't know, but Momiji, actually falls in love with Benimaru, and now it's like Momiji and Albus are trying to compete for Benimaru's heart, and it's so fun! It's so fun! More little plot lines in this show, it's so fucking fun, dude! And then getting into the actual meat of the festival arc, man, it was so fun. This labyrinth that he makes. He even makes TVs and whatnot for everybody to watch. It was so fun. And you have Rimuru just being Rimuru the whole time, with his little this millennial ass talking and whatnot. Brittany Karbowski knocking it out of the park once again, of course.
Before he runs out of time.
Yeah. Dude's still a tool, though.
Just so fun, so endlessly entertaining and lovable. And just everything about it, I just absolutely loved. What a fun and awesome little arc. And the music, talking about the music, this opening of Season 3, Part 2, what was it? Renaissance Serenade, I believe is what it's called. A whole completely different change up from what you're used to with Tensora openings. And the first couple times I listened to it, I was like, whoa, this is different. I definitely would not have expected this, just like I wouldn't have expected this arc, this more fun, lighthearted, wholesome slice of life arc after all the craziness of the previous, couple cores. But after a couple listens, sure enough, I fell in love with this opening. This opening is so fun, so unique. The visuals are so wonderful as well. And the ending as well, I also really enjoyed for this core as well. You had Midna Rain coming in here doing another song, and she did a great, great job with Miracle Soup. Now, I will say I don't think that this is a standout ending, especially on the same level as Reincarnated by Takuma Terashima or Another Colony by True from Season 1, Part 1. But even then, I love the music of this show. I love this show. There's definitely other stuff I could talk about with this season. We had stuff like Mule Mile coming in and being a pretty major character in this. Really, really, really enjoyed him as well. Obviously, all the greats are still here. Veldora and Malim. Veldora was an absolute highlight of this season. He's one of the bosses of the Labyrinth, of course, because he's fucking Veldora, the Storm Dragon. But he also goes out under an alias and starts a little food car where it's so fucking cute. Oh my god, dude. And Malim, of course, as well. Malim is one of the best characters of the show, and she continues to be in this. There's no string of words in the English language to accurately describe how much I love this goddamn anime. And to all of you out there who have never given this show the time of day, who have looked at this and been like, oh, it's another isekai, it's gonna be boring as shit, whatever, Just give the show a chance. Just give the show a chance. I guarantee you, you will fall in love within a matter of seconds. I've literally watched this anime like 5 times, and this new season was just amazing. I absolutely loved it. It wasn't at all what I was expecting, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I loved it so much, and I can't wait to watch it countless times, just like I did the first 2 seasons. And I can't wait for season 4 and this new movie as well that have already been confirmed and announced. Like I said, this show could go on forever for all I care, man. I love That Time I Got Reincarnated, this line. And my final rating for season 3 of That Time I Got Reincarnated, this line is, of course, yet another perfect season of the show. I give it an S+. I love this anime to no end. And with that being said, everybody, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, maybe give me a like, subscribe for some more Tensora videos in the future. They have been a little bit slow these last couple years, but hopefully I can get back and do some more next year in 2025. Hopefully I can give a lot more Tensora content because it is one of my all-time favorites. It is one of my all-time favorite animes, and it always will be. So thank you so much for watching the video. And this is DK Guillotine, signing out. Have a great life.